Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. You've tuned in to ALH Broadcasting, and this is Andrea L. Hines, your host for When Life Speaks. I'm glad you accepted the invitation to connect with us as we share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it's a blessing to your life, it just may be for someone else as well. So tag, share, invite someone, then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good evening, and welcome to When Life Speaks. I am your host, Andrea L. Hines, and I am so glad that you are with me this evening. And let me tell you, Happy New Year from When Life Speaks. This is our first full program of the year, so I can't be remiss in telling you Happy New Year, and we're just praying that God will do great and wonderful things in your lives this coming year, this year, 2026. Can you believe it is 2026? And I don't know what God has in store and what he has planned, but we're looking for his best. We're expecting his best, and we know that he has wonderful things in store. So we're glad to be here tonight. I'm glad and just want everybody to just come on in and get ready. You may have some questions this evening, and let me explain to you what we are doing. This year and the beginning of the year, and actually we started at the end of 2025, just wanting you to get to know the people who are a part of the ALH Broadcasting family, and realizing that as much as you may want to, and as much as you may try to watch every program that is on, you know, life happens and everybody has schedules and different things that are going on, and you can't always do that. You don't always get the opportunity to do it. So we wanted to begin the year letting me introduce you to some of the hosts. Actually, I think we have the time and the bandwidth to talk to all of them. So we had started out, we had talked with Miss Lynn, who is the host of Out of the Box. We've talked to Victoria Henderson, who is not only on Authors Up, which comes on Sunday nights, but she is also on Living Life Victoriously on the second and fourth Monday of the month. We had a chance to speak with her, and tonight we have an opportunity to visit a little while and chat a little while with my buddy down in South Carolina, and that's Angela Oliphant, and her program airs on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. and it is called Whole and Beautiful. And we're going to talk with her tonight and just get to know her a little bit better, and you can get to know a little bit more, not just about her programs, but about her, who she is, what she does, what she loves. And we're going to do that and bring her on in just a minute. But I want to tell you, many of you know her from Carolina Conversations. When Life Speaks is on Thursday nights, and Whole and Beautiful comes on Friday. And sometimes we have a lot to say. Absolutely. We got so much to talk about. We can't get it all in one show. So we call it our Carolina Conversation. We start part one on Thursday, and then on Friday, we go into part two. And we're glad that we have the opportunity and the flexibility to do that. And we've had some wonderful topics. We've talked about some good stuff, and I'm glad that many of you have been on with us and been able to share with us. I see Francina Booker has joined us this evening. Thank you, Francina. So glad to have you here tonight. So look, this lady, she is a mother. She is a grandmother. She is an author. She is a minister. She is many, many things. And like I said, she is part of Carolina Conversation. And I'm going to bring her right in right now so that we'll have a chance to allow me to introduce you to Angela Oliphant. There she is. Hey, Angela, how you doing tonight?
I am doing well. How are
Awesome.
you?
Hey, hey, I told you my mantra this year, 2026, is I will not complain. I will not complain. I could give you a list of stuff, but
Ooh,
I'm not. I am not going to complain. I am glad to be here, and I'm glad that you are here with us this evening. And folks, we're going to have an opportunity. I want Angie to talk a little bit about Whole and Beautiful for those of you who may not be familiar with her show. And then we're going to go into some other things about Angie. We're going to learn a little bit more about Angie. Angie's program, like we say, is called Whole and Beautiful. And one early on, when she started her program, she was talking about her whole and beautiful nation. I said, wait a minute. She had a program, but she got a whole nation. Her whole beautiful nation she was talking to. So, Queen of the Whole and Beautiful Nation, tell us a little bit about your program, how you started it, what you see in the future for it, and just kind of let us in on a little bit of stuff this evening.
well, I thank you for having me on tonight. I looking at Whole and Beautiful. Whole and Beautiful started. Oh, I was looking at something that popped up that I did like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh, it's been over 5 years. Because I started out with the radio and was doing radio in the beginning, and then we switched over to doing the live shows. When I first got the call, when Miss A first called me and she asked me, I was like, yes, I'm gonna do it. And I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to like wonder about it. It's something that I had always wanted to do. I had always thought about doing like radio or doing like talk shows. I would watch talk shows all the time, even as a younger person, teenager and younger. I was always into watching like the talk shows and listening to the stuff and observing people. So when I got the opportunity to do Whole and Beautiful, I was like, yes. I already had the name. I didn't know what I was going to use it for. At first, I was using it for a magazine,
That's right. Yeah.
and I was doing the magazine and had the different topics and doing that as Whole and Beautiful. And I kept saying, I'm going to hang on to this name because this name is for something. I was like, God, I know you didn't just give me this just to give it to me. It's going to be something, and I just didn't know what it was. And once I did the magazine, I kind of just switched the magazine over to the radio. So a lot of things that I would talk about in the magazine, I started talking about on the radio portion, and then that just carried over into what we do now, which is the live. And it's information, revelation, and change. Because I love information. I love to find out things. I love seeking stuff out and trying to find out the answers to stuff. So that's what I do. I go in and I look and I find that information. And when I present it to the people, I'm looking for them to have a revelation about what I'm saying so that it can bring a change in their life. And that whole and beautiful nation, I was just talking that night on that show and just talking, and it came out and it stayed. So I was like, okay, Lord. It wasn't something that I practiced or I sat down and I wrote down. I was just having a conversation with the people, and I was like, my whole and beautiful nation. And I was like, oh, okay. So I just kind of went with it and kept going with it. Um, but it's been good. I do have people that come on sometimes, and I interview them. But if I'm interviewing them, it's about a subject matter or something that I'm trying to still get you that information so you can get some revelation, so you can get some change in your life. So I talk to different people. I've done shows like couples conversations, which I plan to bring that back this year, where I'm talking to different couples about their marriages and how they met, and the different things that go on within marriage. And those shows have been like really popular with people. They come in, they tune in, they want to hear different stories, because everybody's story is different and everybody is not like cookie cutter.
Mhm.
So you have to do what works for your household and what works for those two people. And I did some shows at the end of the year about family, where I was bringing in my kids and talking to them about some different things, and those were really popular because people were tuning in about the family and stuff. And I think that we have to reach back sometimes for family, because and when we move away from it, we don't realize that our lives affect everything like around us, even our family life.
Mhm.
So what's going on in the family will filter over into your work, will filter over into your church, will filter over into your community. And sometimes, if we can get family together, all those other things will start falling in line. So I wanted to just share those things as far as like with family. But I have like just a lot of different topics that we talk about. And I try to have people that come in so I can pick their brain and talk to them about some of the things. And then some of the shows are just me. I'm just sitting and I'm just talking. and I'm
Teaching and preaching. That's what you're doing. You're teaching and preaching.
and I just get on and I just share what's in my heart, or what I feel like is like there that I need to share with people, because my main thing is that I want them, like I said in the beginning, to get the information, but I want them to have a revelation, and then I want it to be a change, because I get excited when I see a light bulb go on for somebody else, or if they send me something and say, "Hey, that show was good. This is what I learned from it. Or this is what I got." That like excites me that they got it. They made a connection, and
Mhm.
that their life is going to be different.
Mhm.
It's going to be better for them. And
Mhm.
that's my whole thing, is like I want them to see that they're whole, that their journey is can be whole and it can be beautiful, and they don't have to wait till they get to the end to enjoy it. You can enjoy the journey along the way, with the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs, the good and the bad. You still can enjoy your journey, and that's what I want them to know.
Amen. Now I tell you what, you for those of you who are listening, who are in our audience tonight, and good evening to you, Bernice. Thank you for being there. If you have any questions for Angie, now's your time. Or anything that you want to know about her show, be sure and put it in the comment section, and we will address it tonight. Angie, I always think it is interesting in talking with the hosts, and even when we have guests on, that this is sometimes the dream. Like you said, I've had people that I have approached that have been kind of, well, let me pray about it, and I'll see, and I'll get back to you. And then there have been people like you who said, yeah, I got this. I'm I'm ready. I've been ready my whole life. And they are able to just flow and to come on, because it is something that they know that God has placed in them to do, and to be able to operate and flow on that level. So It is good to hear you say that. And I'm gonna be flipping around back and forth here a little bit, because when you said that, it reminded me of something that I wanted to ask you about, because you are, in a sense, living the dream. This is something you always wanted to do, and you had the opportunity to do it. But now that you are in this space, what's the next dream? What's the next thing that you want to do? It may be something that has to do with Whole and Beautiful, or maybe it's something personal that you want to do. Because I do want to talk about what makes Angie tick. What's the thing? We know you like to teach and preach and information and sharing revelation and wanting to see change in people. But what's the other thing? What is it that you are compassionate about, that when you if you got up in the morning and could do that and nothing else, it would be happiness for you. It would make you satisfied, and it would make you fulfilled. So I got two parts there: the compassion piece and the dream piece. So tell us about both.
Ah, um, when I look at a lot of stuff now, it's like it keeps, sometimes it switches to back and forth to different things.
Mhm.
Um, I Part of it is like part of the teaching piece. It's like the motive to motivate people, the motivational speaking or something like that, to go in to be able to talk to people, to be able to share with them and to see things change. That motivates me. I would love to. Oh man, I thought about it today. The very first time that I ever did a play, it was like back in the third grade. I did a play. I remember my outfit. I remember the wig I had on. I remember my lines. And that is something that I was like, man, I would love to be able to do that, to be to act and to be in some plays and to be
Really?
like on, yeah, to be on TV. I guess one of my children have picked that up, but I would love to, like, to be in the plays and to be like on TV, like Steve Harvey saying he on TV. I want to be on TV, to be on TV and to be a part of a show. I think that would be fun. Um, because I remember that day. It's like it's just like, yes. And see, I am not. That's like third grade. That's back way long time ago. But I remember. I just remember that day. I remember. I loved it. I love when I came out and when I said my lines, and when people were laughing and they were clapping and stuff. I knew to stop and let them laugh and do that, and then come back in with my next.
You had that timing, that theatrical
Yes.
timing.
And I loved it. I had so much fun doing that. I love like just reading. I like reading a lot. And I love to sit. I have to have a book though. It's like a lot of people are like, okay, you might want to get a Kindle, or you might want to get different things on the computer. I want to hold a book in my hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
And curl up with a good book and read, because when I read, it's like it takes me on all these different adventures that you may not get to go on, but I get to go there in my head. I would love to travel. I love being by the water. I don't have to get in the water. I just like being by it. I like to hear it. I like to hear the waves. I like the setting of it and everything. So those are some things that I really love. But I think if I could go do anything and just wake up in the morning and be able to do that, I think it would be the acting piece, or it would be something where I'm going in to speak to. It doesn't necessarily have to be a big group of people. It can be a small group of people. I just love sharing that information. And I love when I sit down and I start studying and start getting it and it start clicking. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this goes here. And yes. So it's like that motivates me and that gets me going too. So
I
but
know when I first met you, and I thought you were so quiet. I thought, oh my gosh, she's just so quiet. I'm gonna have to, just really draw out of her what God has already placed there. And even with the magazine, you were so quiet. But let me tell you, people, if you put her anywhere near a microphone, hold on to your seat. Just hold on to your seat because she has something to say and she flows in it so easily. We look at other people, and sometimes people just they struggle because they're nervous, or they struggle because the topic may be unfamiliar to them, or whatever. For whatever reason, they will struggle. But Angie's comfortable in what she wants to share, how she wants to share it, and there is such power that comes through in that confidence that you have in what you're doing, that it makes it a joy to listen. It makes it a joy to learn.
mm,
And speaking of learning, oh, that was a good segue.
yes.
Speaking of learning, tell me the lesson that you've learned that you feel affected you most, and where did it come from? It may have been something that somebody said. It may have been something that you saw. But what what was it, if you can think of it? And I do want to mention this: the Francine that said, the peace and tranquility in God's presence is so captivating. And
Yeah.
that is what you have. You have that peace,
Wow.
God, when you are sharing with people. Thank you, Francina. That is a good view of Miss Angie's and her queendom.
Oh, and you were saying the question to go back. Let's go back to the because my mind is like going all over. But you were asking me what was the question again, so I can get this right here. Okay, the thing that's people spoke, that somebody spoke, or that
The lesson
the
learned.
lesson that I learned.
Uh-huh.
Um, as I'm getting older, what one thing that sticks out to me and um is that, and I tell people this a lot, it's like things are going to get better
Mm,
because a lot of times early on I would like every bad thing that happened, everything that happened, I was like, oh, it's the end of the world. Oh, this is never gonna work out. And I would just like be so stressed out and so overwhelmed and like just going through it because I felt like, man, this is the end. This is never gonna get better. This is always gonna be this way. But as I get older, I realized I was like, things are going to get better. No matter what situation you're in, no matter what is going on, God is with you. He never leaves you, and things will get better. It's going to pass.
amen.
It has come, but it is going to pass. And the one thing I've learned that, and that gives me peace. And I try to tell everybody that I meet, it's like it's gonna get better. It's not gonna be like this all the time. It's like the song where he's saying it's not, it won't always be like this.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I was like, it's not gonna be like this. And I was like, if I could just like open up somebody's head and pour that in and be like, it's not gonna be like this all the time. It's going to get better. And then I started I know it's just look like little lessons along the way. I started to just embrace who I am and realizing that you're okay. God created you the way that you are. If it's some different things that you want to make better, then you can. and you can do different things, but you just embrace who you are and love who you are, flaws and all. Just embrace who you are and love yourself, because I didn't love myself all the time. And as I just think about it, I was like, man, you wasted all those years of like not liking yourself or not loving yourself because of what somebody else said, or because of somebody else didn't like you, or because somebody else didn't like the way that you dressed or the way that you did your hair. And then now my whole world is over because you didn't like me. And I was like, why? Why was my mind like that where I would just go with what the other people said? Now I'm more so of, okay, God, you created me. I am who I am, and I can love who I am. And if He shows me something that needs to be changed and I need to work on, then yes, I'm going to work on it and we're going to get it changed. But other than that, outside of God, if you praise me or if you don't, it's okay. Um,
That's something that I that helped to turn my low self-esteem around. Uh, is I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
yes,
I am
yes,
fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are His works.
yes,
Because I think a lot of us, on some level, struggle with that. That piece of acceptance, that piece of, you know, I want to be the best that I can be, but in the process, I want you to like me.
yeah,
I want to be acceptable to Him first, but I want, I want some accolades. I want some pats on the back.
pats on the back and want somebody I
That
was like,
people approve of me.
yes,
there
yes,
there comes a point where if I have satisfied God,
yes.
I that's all I
That's
really
all I need.
need, and I'm good with that. I don't know whether I'm pronouncing the name right, but Sidria Tinsley, thank you for joining us. I think that's somebody Angie O
Yes,
knows, because I
that's
saw a big
I,
smile come on her face. So
we call her Sid. So
Sid,
hi,
you
Sid.
with us this evening and for joining in the conversation as well. Now, do you think the greatest lessons or the biggest things that you have learned or been taught with that information, did it come from family? Did it come from well, I'll put it this way, did it come from circumstances or did it come from individuals? Did
I
you have a mentor that pushed you, or was it the environment that you saw around you?
I think it was I think it was just a little bit of both.
Okay.
Um, Growing up and seeing some of the things that I did see, I was like, sometimes seeing what not to do
Mm,
helps. So that helped kind of motivate me and push me. And some people look at their situation, their circumstance, and they be like you have those two people in the same environment and one comes out different.
yeah.
um it's like I sat in that environment, but I remember sitting, even as a child, I would sit and I would talk to God. I was like, I would just sit and just have conversations, and people be like, oh, they looking at me crazy. But I remember that, like, being like 6 and 7, and I would just sit and I was like, well, God, I don't know about this, and I don't know why this, and I don't know why that, and can you tell me why this, and I'm asking questions. And but I think looking at the situations and the environment and everything, certain things I was like, okay, this is something that I don't want to do. This is something that I don't want to repeat. And it motivated me and it pushed me, because I was a person that loved books, to begin to read. So I began to read. So and when I read, I see. So it's like I can see it when I'm reading it. So I'm reading something, but I have a picture in my head. So
Hmm.
I wanted to be, I would like live basically in these pictures in my head, like how I wanted things to be or how I wanted things to go. And I didn't, and around me, it didn't look that way. But in here, it looked the way I wanted it to look. So it was like,
Who had that spiritual influence over you?
Oh, I would.
Was it the church that you went to? Was it something that grandma taught you at home? Was it, where did it come from that at 6 and 7 years old, you knew you were having these conversations with God? At 6 or 7 years old, I don't know what I was thinking about, but I know it wasn't God.
I was like,
I know he and I were not conversating when I was 7. But where did that come from?
I used to love to go to church with my grandmother, and she would go. It's like we had, that's back in the day when they had first and third. That was the Baptist church Sundays, and second and fourth was Holiness Church Sundays. So on
Gotcha.
first and third, I was like going to the Baptist church, and then on second and fourth, I get to go with my grandma, which I love the Holiness Church better than the Baptist I did. That's my preference, y'all. That's what I like when I was younger. Not that one is better than the other. They all love Jesus, but the holiness, I was like, oh, I love it up in here. So, but I would go to church with her, and then my grandmother would have me to read the Bible to her, and she was like, because she couldn't read it, but she would say, Angie, get the Bible and read to me. And I'd be like, well, grandma, where you want me to start at? Where you want what you want to listen to? She said, baby, just whatever you read is good to me.
Is it that she couldn't read, or is it that her eyes?
She where her eyes were bad. She could read some, but she couldn't read all. And
Okay,
then it got to the point where her eyes were bad, and she had like cataracts and stuff, and she couldn't read it.
gotcha.
So she would ask me to read the word to her. So I would read the word to her, and I would watch her because she would get up and she would pray like early in the morning, like 5 or so in the morning. She would get up and she would pray. She would pray for her whole family, and she would. I watched her and stuff, and we would go to church with her like during the revivals and during on the Sundays and stuff. And she would sit and she would have church in her house all by herself. Because I would be coming down the road from school, got off the bus and had to walk down to her house. And by the time before I could get there, I could hear her singing. She had her tambourine out. She was beating the tambourine. She was singing, and she just get to shouting right there in her own house. And she get up and do her testimony to it. She said, I thank the Lord for being here. She just going, and it was like she was having her own church service right there in the house. So that like established a lot where I felt like, man, oh, she's not at church. She at home and she talking to the Lord. She at home and she having church.
Church was
So
in her.
yes.
She's just in.
So then it was like, oh, I can do this at home. I ain't got to wait till Sunday.
Well, I had put up a post that Francina said, and she said I had the same conversation with God, and I think she's talking about the scripture being fearfully and wonderfully made. In my prayer time yesterday, that same scripture that ministered to me, God's answer, His response. Now to God be all the glory. I'm in a better place, accept and see myself as God does, and now I'm good to go with me. And
Yes,
that is something. I am good to go with me, and
yes,
that is a feeling that doesn't always come easily, and that's why a lot of people struggle with self esteem and
they do.
image and many of those other things that go on that it's difficult a lot of times for us to get over. But the fact that you were able to find him at a young age, I think has been um, I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but I'll just say has been instrumental in your ability to transcend some of the things that would have put people under. when you feel good about you, when you can rely on the God in you, then it is a lot. I'm not going to say easier because it's not easy, but you are able to define and navigate those spaces where you can say it's going to get better,
Yeah.
where you can say this is not the end of the story. This may be the end of the chapter. But I got a little bit more information. I've had
Mhm.
revelation with this. Now I'm about to change some stuff
Yes.
because God is giving me the opportunity for there to be some transformation in my
Yeah.
life. Now, let me ask you this: as a grandmother,
Mm.
what are what are the lessons that you feel are most important that you're pouring into your grandkids, that you want, that when they get to be your age and somebody says, who is instrumental in your life, and they can say my grandma, because what was that? Hey, Miss K, thank you for joining us. It's Miss K from YouTube. Thank you for coming on tonight. What do you think that is, and how do you do it?
With that, oh man, I want to them to realize that they need to be together, that they need, like, I have five grands, and I want them to have that togetherness that I had, like, growing up with my cousins, with some of the cousins. We will always be together, and we will always do things together, and we played together, and my grandmother kept us all at her house, and that house back then I thought was kind of big, but I went back to see it, and it's really, really small. And I was like, she had all these kids in here, it's like about 12 of us that was in the house. But we all played together, we all hung out together, we all did things together. And I want them to have that togetherness. I want them to realize that they can depend on their family for support. I like to be there when they're doing different things, and to be there and show them that I'm supporting them. I want them to have fun and not be like so caught up in, oh, I gotta be this way, or I gotta be that way, and I gotta do this, and it's like, have fun, you kids, have fun. Even my own kids, I was like, y'all need to have fun. Y'all still young. Y'all still, don't let everything just weigh you down. And I try to share that with my kids, with my grandkids, also, for them just to relax. I want to see you at peace. I don't want you sitting and worrying about who don't like you at school, or this thing is coming up, or that. It's like, be carefree and just have fun, because you're gonna have time to worry about the other stuff later on. It's like, just enjoy being a kid.
Are
Enjoy. Say what now?
I don't want to cut you off, but I wanted to ask you: are you the grandmother that they show on television and on YouTube that pops up where the children are saying, "Who is this woman?" Because she never let me get away with the things
I would.
that's my kids get away with. So she, or do you think you're pretty much the same, that you are with your grandchildren the same way you were with your children when you were raising them?
I don't. My kids probably could tell you a totally different story. With them, I had like this structured thing where it was like, okay, we're gonna have quiet time during this time, we're gonna do this during this time, we're gonna do that during that time. And that was to keep them on track, but then that was to help me too. So it was like we would have like 30 minutes of quiet time. You didn't have to take a nap, you didn't have to go to sleep or anything, but you had to have a book, or you could color, or but you had to be quiet during those 30 minutes. Now, when that worked out for me, like when I had to go like to meetings or I had to go to different things and I had to take my kids, I would sit them down. I would give them a coloring book. I would say, "This is quiet time," and they was like, "Yes, ma'am." And they would sit there and they would color. And people were like, "How you get them to do that?" Because we do it at home. We do it at home. So when I get out and I have to go do this, then they can do that stuff. I tried to have a door open where my kids would have like where they would have fun too. We went to the parks and hung out at the parks. We went to the libraries when they had the festival at the library. We did the face painting and all the other stuff, and I would try to get them involved in everything that I could as far as like just hanging out and having some fun and being a kid. And I think I did that because with myself, I feel like that I really didn't get to be like a kid. It's like I had to take on responsibilities. I'm the oldest, and I felt like I had to step into some roles kind of early and do some things. So I'll be like with my kids, I was like, be a kid, just have fun, you know. And then when it's time to grow up, you're gonna grow up, but enjoy being a kid. And I do that with my grands because we have like the Christmas party, Yaya's Christmas party, and then with when sometimes when I have the girls over, if I had them because they were living with me, my daughter was for a while, so then we would do facials and we would do they would put the little cucumbers on
Girly
the
things.
side. And then for like Christmas, we did it. We do the Christmas party for Valentine's Day. I try to make sure that everybody gets something for Valentine's, and I try to create some different things for them. And it's the simple things that they come back. Some of the things I didn't even think that they would like because I was like, oh, now they're getting older. They're not going to want to do this. And that was the very thing I had. Like I cut a Christmas tree out of felt, had felt stars, and I was like, we played pin the star on the tree. And they did that when they were little. And that's the game that they asked for when they came back this year. They was like, are we going to do the tree? And I was like, y'all want to do the tree? And because they're older now. So the oldest one is like 13, but he was still asking about stuff. So it's
But
like
you know
just wanting them to be kids.
what there's something more to uh the being kids piece, and
Yeah,
I don't want people to misunderstand it. It in being kids, uh, there is the application of a safe space, and there is the application of freedom,
yeah,
but there's also the application of boundaries, and
yes,
there's also the application of compassion and empathy. So when you're saying a kid, I'm gonna give you a chance to be a kid. I want you to be a kid. Those are some of the things that, because I've watched you, and those are the things that you nurture in that kid space.
yes,
And I want people to understand that it's not a drop off, run and go.
right.
And a lot of people think that being a allowing my child to be a kid does not include me, but it
Mm,
very much includes you. It
it
very
does.
much includes, because other than that, you don't know what they're thinking. You don't know how to help them. You don't know what freedom is to them. And I think it was the girls, and whenever I say the girls, we're talking about Angie's granddaughters and my goddaughters also. But they're twins, and they are changing in a phenomenal way. They are becoming individuals.
Yes,
Uh, but with all of that, I think it was either Thanksgiving or it was a holiday. They're what, 11 now?
yes.
So they were probably 9. And the question was, what did they want for their birthday? And one of them said, I want to help to feed the homeless.
Yes.
And I was just taken back by that. So I just wanted to make it clear that there are other nurturing things that go into that fun piece
Yes.
that help to develop them into just good human beings,
Yeah.
because they could have asked for anything. They could have asked for anything. And their parents had to help set up the GoFundMe. The parents had to help, and we need to be attentive, which I find you to be, Angie, through the whole process. It's not just the process of the program, it's not just the process of parenting, it is the process of relationship that you have with the Father that bleeds over and feeds over into all of these things that help to make us whole and beautiful. And I thank you for that.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
I thank you for that. I want to know if anybody has any other question for Angie, because we're right at our time mark tonight. We're doing good. 2026,
Yes.
new year. We on time. Uh,
You're like,
but I want Angie to leave us with something, a word, a quote, a scripture, other something other than it's going to be okay. It's not gonna last forever. I think that is powerful in and of itself. But while you all are thinking about a question that you may have or a statement that you may have for Angie, Angie, what do you want to leave the audience with tonight? And it could be something. I don't want to skip by this because I do think that we've covered some things about you that people may not have known.
right.
I wanted to make sure that we did that. So if there's anything else that you want to share, that is on your heart to share, I would like for you to be able to do that at this particular time.
One thing I wanted to say to Francina, when she had put up that the comment and everything, I have always looked at Francina and be like, "That's a bad woman." That was like, I love
I
I
know,
love her spirit. I love the way she like embraces who she is. I'm like, I'm glad she put that up because she is just who she is, and I love it. It's like authentically being her, and I wanted to let her know that I love it. The way she carries herself, the way even the way she talk. I could sit and listen to Francine all day, but she is
but it was not always that way, and that's the thing.
yeah
It
yeah.
was not
It's
always
not
that
always
way,
that way.
and that's another piece of it's gonna change. The things gonna be different. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Oh man, but I want like just to tell people to be authentically you and to love who you are. Um, people say it and they sometimes it gets to be cliche with a lot of people, but be authentically who you are, and that's like your that becomes your safe place. That becomes a place where you can walk in confidence because you're not trying to live up to what somebody else did or somebody else's expectations of you. But I tell myself this a lot. I don't compare myself against other people. I compare myself against my destiny. Where is it that I want to be? Am I where
Yeah,
am I on track with where I know that I should be as to where I'm going? I'm not going to compare myself against you because your destiny may be different from mine. You're going to approach things different from me. So
yes,
I can't measure myself by you. I can only measure myself by who God has called me to be and who he wants me to be. And am I on track to being where God wants me to be, not somebody else? So put those expectations of those other people, and I know words can stay with us for years, but get to a place where you can release all the good, the bad, and the ugly, and just be authentically you and measure yourself against where I'm going, not against what somebody else is doing or what somebody else said.
I
Be
think
you.
that's wonderful. And I thank you. I thank you, Angie, for being with us tonight, for sharing with us tonight. And you know you're going to see Angie again in 2026. So you all just don't worry yourselves. Don't trouble yourselves. This is not the last time. We got some Carolina conversations to do and many, many other things. So, Angie, I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to pull you off the screen. But you
Okay.
hang in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being a part of ALS Broadcasting and When Life Speaks.
Thank you.
Boy, I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Angie just a little bit better than you may have before. Look, we're going to continue this. We're going to continue this next week. Next week, guess who I'm going to have on next week? Mm. The host of Under Construction, Pastor Steve. Woo, I tell you what, you better get ready. You better fasten your seatbelt because I know this man of God is going to give us some nuggets. He always does on his program, but it's going to be nice to get to know a little bit more about him. So let me introduce you to Pastor Steve next week. And come on back. And when you come back, turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Thanks, everybody. Good night. Have a good evening.